intermediate, intermediate, intermediate. Let's talk about the word intermediate. As an adjective, intermediate typically refers to something that comes in between two stages or levels of development, complexity, or intensity. In common usage, you might hear people say, "I'm at an intermediate level of English," meaning they have some basic skills but still need practice to become proficient. You might also use the word to describe a product that's not too simple nor too advanced for a particular audience, like an intermediate level hiking trail or an intermediate reading book. A special note about its usage is that intermediate can sometimes be confused with advanced. So make sure you understand the context and difference between them. Intermediate means being in the middle, while advanced implies being ahead. In a formal setting, you might say, "I'm pleased to report that our new employee has progressed to an intermediate level in the company's language training program after only 6 months," indicating a strong potential for future career advancement. Contextually, this sentence is relevant when discussing employee development or promotions within a company. Moving on to casual conversation. Someone might say, "Hey, I've been learning Spanish online and I'm at an intermediate level now, still got some work to do before I can hold my own in a native speaker conversation." Here, the usage of intermediate is informal and used to describe one's personal progress or skills in a particular subject. In business or academic contexts, you might say, "The research paper presented by Dr. Smith demonstrated an intermediate understanding of quantum physics concepts, warranting further analysis before publication." In this example, intermediate is used to quantify the author's grasp on complex scientific ideas, implying that their work requires refinement and additional study before being considered complete or definitive. Hey there, so you're trying to learn about different levels of language proficiency? Okay, imagine someone who has been studying a language for a while and can hold everyday conversations with native speakers. They can understand most spoken language and express themselves in writing, but might still make some mistakes or struggle with more complex vocabulary. That's what I'd call an advanced beginner. Think of it like a bridge between the basics and fluency. This level of proficiency is often reached after 1 to 2 years of consistent study. Manual, manual, manual. Let's talk about the word manual. As a language teacher, I'd like to explain that manual is a noun, part of speech, which refers to a written instruction or guide on how to perform a specific task or job. In common usage, you'll often find manual used in contexts where there's a need for step-by-step guidance, such as an instruction manual for assembling furniture or a car repair manual. It can also refer to a handbook or guidebook that provides information and rules for a particular activity, like a sports manual or a health and safety manual. A special note about its usage is that manual can sometimes be confused with the word manuals, which is the plural form of this noun. But be careful not to mix it up with the verb manually. Here are 3 example sentences using the word manual with their respective contexts. In a formal setting, such as a university lecture or a professional conference, you might say, "According to our manual on proper laboratory procedures, we must always wear gloves when handling hazardous materials." This sentence uses manual in an academic context to refer to a comprehensive guidebook for laboratory protocols. The tone is informative and objective. In casual conversation with a friend who's trying to assemble a piece of furniture, You might say, yeah, I think I followed the manual correctly. But it still doesn't seem right. Maybe we need to take it apart again? This sentence uses manual in an informal context to refer to a set of instructions provided with a product. The tone is conversational and slightly frustrated. In a business setting, such as a meeting or a presentation, you might say, we've developed a new manual for customer service reps that outlines the procedures for handling returns and refunds. This sentence uses manual in an organizational context to refer to a written guidebook for employees. The tone is professional and informative. So you want to know about that special book that helps people learn new things? It's essentially a step-by-step guide that explains how to do something in detail, often with pictures and diagrams to make it easier to understand. A typical example of this is the instructions that come with a piece of furniture or a gadget. They show you exactly how to put it together or use it for the first time. These guides are usually written by experts who have experience with whatever it is being explained. And their purpose is to provide clear and concise information so that others can follow along and get things right. Does that make sense? Mature. 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 The word mature can be both an adjective and a verb, so it's essential to understand its part of speech in different contexts. As an adjective, mature typically means having reached full physical, mental, or emotional development, often used to describe something or someone that is no longer young or childish. For example, she looks very mature for her age. In this case, the emphasis is on physical appearance and a sense of responsibility. When mature is used as a verb, it means to become physically, mentally, or emotionally developed, often implying a process of growth or ripening. Common usage includes descriptions like, "The experience helped me mature faster than my peers." Here, the focus is on personal development and gaining life wisdom. In a formal setting, such as a university lecture on psychology, a professor might say, as people mature, they tend to develop more complex social skills and a deeper understanding of their emotions. This sentence uses the word mature to describe a stage of personal development. In a casual conversation with friends at a park, you might hear someone say, "I think I'm finally starting to mature and understand why my parents were always so strict when I was younger. It's actually pretty cool now that I see things from their perspective." This sentence uses the word mature in a more relaxed tone to describe personal growth. In a business context, such as a marketing strategy meeting, a manager might say, "Our product line has matured significantly over the past few years, and we're seeing a substantial increase in customer loyalty. It's time for us to consider expanding into new markets." This sentence uses the word mature to describe the development of a product or service. So you're trying to figure out what mature means? Well, think of it like this. When something or someone is mature, they've had time to develop and grow in a way that shows they can handle things on their own. It's like how a tree gets stronger and taller as it gets older. It can withstand storms and weather changes without breaking down. When people are mature, they're usually more responsible, wise, and able to think for themselves, making good decisions even when it's hard. You might also hear words like grown up, adult, or seasoned used in similar ways. But mature specifically means that someone has reached a level of emotional, mental, or physical development where they can take care of themselves and make smart choices.